Wicked Part 1. Released November 22, 2024. Directed by John M. Chu. Written by Winnie Halsman, Dana Fox, and Gregory Maguire. Starring Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, and Jeff Goldblum. Based on Wicked by Gregory Maguire. Rotten Tomatoes score, 90%. Metacritic, 73. IMDb, 8.1. MPA rating PG. Welcome back to Real Reviews. Like always, I am your host, Lee. Today we are talking about Wicked Part 1, the theatrical reimagining of the Broadway musical and book of the same name. Part 2 is set to come out November 21st of 2025. This is a movie that I saw inside of a mostly full theater in the middle of the day on a Thursday. That probably says a little bit about how ticket sales are going. We are going to do two sections which might become the standard going forward. Section 1 is the non-spoilers, and then I will warn before the second section, which will include spoilers about characters and the story. But let's talk about it. So as far as the story working, let me just say this. From all accounts from multiple people, this is a pretty good adaptation of the book and musical. The story is great. It has all of the highs and lows expected in a story like this. I never found myself wondering what was happening, or who was doing what or why. Honestly, I left this movie feeling like if I didn't bother with Part 2, I would still think it fit perfectly with Wizard of Oz. It does a good job expanding on ideas about Oz and building up what is a relatively empty world. Cynthia Erivo is absolutely fantastic, especially when it comes to her songs. It is easy to see why she won awards for her role in The Color Purple on Broadway. I will be honest, there is such a substantial difference between how she and Ariana Grande perform. It is easy to see the differences in training and experience as they sing alongside each other. Ariana is enjoyable with her version of Galinda. I honestly feel like each casting choice was a good one. Jeff Goldblum brings his quirkiness and eccentricities to the role as the wizard. One performance that I was surprised by was Jonathan Bailey. I haven't really seen him in anything because I don't watch Bridgerton, but he was very good in the scenes that he was in, had good screen presence, and was overall enjoyable to watch. The music is of course killer. You don't become a wildly popular musical on Broadway without that, and they carried it over well into the movie format. One thing that I constantly smiled at was the subtle playing of some of the core songs during normal acting. I haven't seen the musical, but I am certain this is another carryover that was used well. This is another pivotal thing in casting. Being able to hire the person who can sing the songs. That is an extra layer that is needed for a movie like this. And again, they did a stellar job there as well. Even Jeff Goldblum, who doesn't come off as this polished singer, sounds amazing because that is exactly what the wizard was meant to be. For premise of judging characters and their roles, Galinda is the antagonist of this movie. That isn't a spoiler, it was just in the trailer. Ariana does a great job portraying the vain, self-centered Galinda. Every line, motion, everything. I loathed her within about 5 minutes of being introduced to her, which is exactly how I was meant to feel. Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba was also just fantastic to watch. Her version worked so well. Every little emotion is expressed perfectly. I genuinely felt sorry for her as the story went on. Each of the side characters delivered fantastically, pushing and pulling Galinda and Elphaba in believable ways to get to where we end this movie. This movie is long, especially when you consider it as a Part 1. It comes in at around 2 hours and 40 minutes. The impressive part about this is that it doesn't feel long. It doesn't drag. I was never bored. Each minute is used well for the entirety of the movie. The effects don't look out of place. Even the ridiculousness of the Emerald City looks like it belongs. Yeah, a few of the more demanding shots look a bit off, probably from artists being in a rush towards the end. But with the sheer number of assets that they had to create for this movie, I would be shocked if nothing was wrong. I know a lot of people don't like the stories that humanize the villains in classic stories, but this is a phenomenal recontextualization of the Wicked Witch of the West. I am aware that stories like Maleficent and Cruella didn't really hit the mark with a lot of people. If you're one of those people, give this movie a shot or read the book. Spoiler section. From this point on, consider this to be your last warning. If you are stopping here because you still want to see the movie, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every view immensely. If you like this video, come back and watch the spoiler section later. We have the story of Elphaba, the daughter of an affair by her mother with a mysterious man who is not revealed in this movie. She was born green, and since then she was hated by her father. Along with her skin color, she was also naturally gifted with what in the world of Oz is tremendous magical powers. The story pretty quickly breezes past Elphaba's childhood and right into introducing Galinda, and she's the main school in Oz. The story almost immediately expresses the fact that magic is basically non-existent. In fact, by the end of the movie, we only see potentially 2 actual magic users. This movie does a lot to reinforce the concept that the Wizard of Oz is not only a fraud but awful. He stoked talking animal hate so he could get into power, and that really is the crux of what makes him and Elphaba different. Even though she had a horrible childhood, being picked on, neglected, and hated, she wants to help the world and make it a better place. The wizard only wants power, and on that note, Galinda only wants fame, and while she almost does the right thing, her vanity and ambition ultimately stops her. I wasn't familiar with Wicked past the generic knowledge that it was about the story of Elphaba, so the idea that she was a fake enemy of the state, as it were, was honestly pretty interesting. She is literally the Wicked Witch because she won't help the wizard gain more power to control all of Oz. The movie ends with Elphaba in her full Wicked Witch regalia, hat, cloak, and broom. At this point, if there was no second movie, I would think that it was a pretty good prequel to The Wizard of Oz and wouldn't really even wonder. But with Part 2 coming out in a year, I am stoked and really looking forward to it. I would give this movie a perfect score. So much time and care clearly goes into every part of it. I would obviously highly recommend it unless you hate musicals, but that is a preference thing more than a quality thing. Like always, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I try to have 2 videos out per week. Real reviews like this one or AI reviews depending on releases. Until next time.